peacekeeping forces on a top secret mission. He has told me that his name was Max Moose Advisor. I thought it was very strange, but he is from the South, and so I figured it was just one of those Southern names. I want him to be here and be with me, but every time we try to meet, there's always a problem. His luggage is being held in customs. There were suicide bombings in Afghanistan. There were chemical weapons. He needed money for travel. He wanted to go AWOL on his job to be with me. He was attacked by the Taliban. Max received some gold bars from the Minister of Peace in Afghanistan. They were worth approximately $1 million, and he needed money from me to get them out of customs in Ghana. I had to do whatever was necessary to get what he needed to the diplomat in Ghana. The diplomat's name is Derek Anani, and Max has known him for a number of years. I've sent Max money 5 times. Max has told me that he will pay me back every penny. He's currently stuck in a hospital in Afghanistan because of a severe wound in his hand. It looked terrible. I love Max very much, and it's in my heart that I have to help him. I need him to be here with me, whatever it takes.
You are in love.
Yes, I am, very much.
But you're not kind of in love. You're head over heels in love.
Definitely head over heels.
And his name is Max Moose Advisor.
Yes.
Okay, it's an unusual name.
It's a very unusual name.
Yeah, so you're going to be Mrs. Advisor. That's better than Mrs. Moose, I guess.
Definitely.
And you miss him.
I miss him very much. I want him to be in my life.
How do you miss somebody you never met?
Well, because of the communications that we've had, we've become very close. And I feel like I've known him for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the background of Max Moose Advisor. He was born in Bedford, Texas. U.S. Army soldier with UN peacekeeping forces in Afghanistan. And it's a top secret location.
Yes.
And so because of security reasons, you can't Skype or no cell phone.
That's correct.
He put in for early retirement to be with you?
Yes.
In fact, he's now gone AWOL. Even though he went AWOL, he got attacked by the Taliban?
Yes.
And he's in a private hospital near Kabul?
About 8 hours south of Kabul.
Yeah, because of his hand?
Right.
That's a nasty looking
Yes,
cut.
it is pretty nasty.
Now, there have been several times that you were going to meet him, actually. But things have happened every time that he was going to meet you to stop him from getting there. Like one time there were too many bombings, so he was afraid to leave Afghanistan. He was attacked by the Taliban and sustained a cut on his hand. And
right.
When that happened, they said, you can't get on the airplane.
That's right.
But he's going to get that fixed.
That's right.
But he has to have $9,000 to get that fixed.
To get it fixed, right.
Now, he's got some luggage sitting at an airport that if I were you, I would have a big interest in. And not saying that you're a gold digger, but there is gold in these suitcases, right?
That's what I've been told, yes. Right.
What's the value of those things?
Approximately $1 million.
$1 million in gold. And he was going to ship that luggage to you.
That's right.
But he needs some money
to get it out of there.
To get it out of there.
Right.
Like tax or?
Well, there was initially a $17,000 fee. And then there's an additional valuation fee. Because once they determined that there was gold in it, then there was a value to it.
Where did he get the gold, by the way?
From the Minister of Peace of Afghanistan for things that he had done in saving people.
In order to get him the money to do this, you actually had to send him the money discreetly.
Yes.
Here's
right.
Sandy explaining how she sends money to her online fiance, and here's a hint. This is not Western Union.
I've sent cash to Max in cereal boxes on 5 different occasions. I've sent close to $50,000. What I would do is I would get the cash, and then I would take the cereal box and very carefully open it so that it will remain looking like a cereal box that's never been opened. And then you get to the inside package of the cereal, What I try to do is have something that I can pour it into so that I can get to the bottom. And I don't like to take the bag out. If you take the bag out, you might not get it back in there right. So then I take the money and I try to get it as flat as I possibly can and put it in the bag in the middle. If they were to open this box of cereal, I want them to see cereal all around and not see any money in there. I'm worried about customs opening it if they're suspicious about anything. Then I would take the cereal that I've poured out, put a little bit back in there, and it's not a perfect science. I feel like I could probably do this for a living at this point. I've gotten quite good at it.
What did you say to yourself? You're standing in the kitchen, you have $25,000 in cash, you're putting in a cornflakes box and shipping to Ghana. To Ghana. Let me tell you one of the things I'm concerned about here. The penalties for bulk cash smuggling could include imprisonment for a time up to 5 years, forfeiture of the money, real property involved in the offense, and any property traceable to such property. So you're smuggling money in violation of Homeland Security regulations to a foreign country and have exposed yourself to potential fines, penalties, and 5 years in the federal penitentiary.
That's pretty frightening.
Look, let's take a break. Next, we're going to find out just how much money Sandy has sent to Max. Plus, I'm going to take a closer look at those love emails Sandy says Max sent her. Is there more to them than meets the eye? We'll be right back. Day by day, my love for you becomes overwhelming and I can't handle it. Pig Busters! Day by day, my love for you becomes overwhelming and I can't handle it. Would this be a cut and paste romance?
And later.
I want you to tell me where you live in Houston.
Okay, I live around, hello?
Terry, I wrote to Dr. Phill to get you out of that country. You better be a real person because I'm on national TV and I'm going to look like a fool.
I know.
Sandy and I have known each other for almost 10 years now. I have always known Sandy to behave rationally, but when she said she had given this man a total of $36,000, I think I was speechless. I immediately thought of 2 previous Dr. Phill shows that I had seen on dating scams. There's no question in my mind that this is a scam. Sandy did not want to believe me. She said she was in love with this man. I want Dr. Phill to show Sandy that this is a scam.
You sent this guy money. On February 5th, you joined the dating site. On the 10th, you get your first email from him, right?
Yes.
Okay, and now here we are. This is February. The next month, you have sent him $8,294.76.
Right.
Then, in April, between the 4th and the 19th, you send him $33,485.05. The next month, between the 9th and the 18th, you send him another $18,152.65.
That's right.
You must have been in a bad mood in June. He got $260 from you. In July, he got $25.67.29. In August, you've shipped him $410.50.
Yes.
Total over 6 months, $63,370.25. You have never met him. You have never talked to him.
That's correct.
Jennifer, you look like you're in shock.
I'm finding out a lot of things that I'd never known.
I asked my team to cross-check some of the emails that Max Moose advisor sent to Sandy, and this is what they found out. Take a look at this. He says, "You became my reason, my existence, my dreams, and my future just by being yourself, and I thank you. I thank you with all my heart for being the most important part of my life. I love you." Like you say, I mean, girl likes to hear that, right?
Yes, of course.
And there's a website out there that's called Pig Busters, under the theory that some men are pigs. pigbusters.net. And look what they found. Word for word, syllable for syllable. On March 18th, day by day, my love for you becomes overwhelming and I can't handle it. Pigbusters! Day by day, my love for you becomes overwhelming and I can't handle it. Would this be a cut and paste romance?
It appears to be.
I want to show you something else. Max is from Bedford. And like I said, that's my stomping ground, Texas boy. And here's some of the language from an email that Max sent Sandy on March 4th, 2013. It says, what you plans for breakfast? Any idea the attire you will be wearing and what color to work? I'm from Texas.
Yes.
And I've never heard anybody say anything like that. Here's an instant message on April 7th. All now is how I get home soon to make all of this reality and pay you back all I owe. Please soon, I will okay. Honey, how long will you raise the money? This is a person for whom English is not their first language. From Nigeria and Ghana and some of that part of the world, they don't use articles in speech the way we do. So these and ands and all get dropped out in the translation because they don't use that.
Okay.
Now, Sandy says Max Moose advisor told her that he was a U.S. Army soldier, with UN peacekeeping forces doing something in logistics. We're going to see what a private investigator has to say about this when we come back. We cannot find one record of one human being in the history of the United States whose last name was Advisor.
And later.
You and I are both from Houston. Where do you live in Houston? Let's try him back.
The first month, Max told me his military career, he was in the U.S. Army. He was assigned to the UN peacekeeping forces. Going out on missions was part of what he did. Protecting diplomats. It made total sense to me because I grew up in the military and my father had top secret clearance. So you just never questioned that.
I'm making you think, but I haven't changed your mind.
I love him very much.
The him you're talking about is him. So there's 26 of these sites. I won't go through all their names, but this is site 1. On there, the name is Alan Moose. Okay, on site 2, it's Braden Moose. It's your guy, right?
Yes.
Site 3, George Braun. Site 4, Alan Moose. Site 5, Sergeant Moose. Site 6, LaForest Billy. That's your guy. Okay, here we go. Alan Moose, that's your guy, right?
Yes.
He's Philip Moose on site 8. Remember, he was somebody else on site 1. He's Philip Moose on site 8. Same lizard, same guy. Sergeant George Moose. Peter Hardiman Moose. Alan Moose. Moose Bernard. Michael Moose. Moose Mike. Alan Moose. George Moose. Peter Hardiman Moose. Sergeant Moose. Braden Moose. Philip Moose. Moose Bernard. All of these, a different site. Michael Moose. Sergeant Moose. You got that picture?
No.
How about this one, Mike Moose?
No.
Braden Moose again on 25. Sergeant George Moose. Well, it got in there. Just a moose. Okay? Do you see this?
Yes.
This guy is on, he's been picked up on 26 different sites. Now, Brad Allen is a licensed private investigator who helped investigate Max Moose Advisor and found those 26 websites with Max's pictures. Brad, this guy's done nothing wrong, correct?
Correct.
This is not the bad guy. They stole his picture and they read his name tag. Whoever he is, we want him to know his photo is being used to perpetrate a scam. Now, Sandy also says Max Moose Advisor claimed to have been in the Army. Now, here's a picture. Now, Private Investigator Brad Allen says the uniform in this picture is not an Army uniform. We have two mannequins here to help show Sandy the difference. Here to help me also is Scott Madsen, who's the president of Pietzke Productions, which is one of the production companies involved with the Dr. Phill show. Scott, you were a career military. This is a Marine uniform. This is a uniform that they say is Army. This is a Marine uniform. This is an Army uniform. Now, Scott, would an Army guy wear a Marine uniform? Would a Marine guy wear an Army uniform? And if not, why not?
Well, not a chance is the answer to your question. You know, the services have a huge pride of themselves and competition between other services. And although I was career Air Force, I wouldn't wear an Army uniform or even shirt just because, you know, it's just like a competitive sports team.
Now, Sandy says Max Moose Advisor sent her this picture with the word advisor on his shirt. Then he has other name tags where it says Max Moose. Now, investigator Brad Allen checked the most reputable databases available to search public records for Max Moose Advisor, and he found two men named Max Moose, but they died when?
1994.
1994. Other than that, the name does not appear in the United States. There's not another Max Moose in the United States. So what we have here are 50 phone books. We went to every state. We looked everywhere so you can check for yourself. Like you can go to Seattle. You can look up where advisor would appear. See, these are the A's over here. This is where advisor would be in the alphabetical order. There's nobody in the entire city of Seattle that has the name advisor. There's nobody in the entire state of Utah that has the name advisor. And there's nobody in Bedford, Texas with the name advisor. It does not exist. We cannot find one record of one human being in the history of the United States whose last name was advisor. Advisor is a job. Advisor is a job. That's not a last name.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Now you've convinced me.
God, I hope so. Next, I'm going to show Sandy the real man behind the picture of Max Moose Advisor. We'll be right back. The investigator gave me photos of the person that he believes is the real Max Moose Advisor. I can't show these to the audience due to privacy laws. You ready?
Sure.
And later.
I want you to tell me where you live in Houston.
Okay, I live around, hello?
Terry, I wrote to Dr. Phill to get you out of that country. You better be a real person because I'm on national TV and I'm going to look like a fool.
Hello.
Sandy said, Max tells me everything I want to hear. And my first reaction was, Sandy, listen to yourself. He's telling you exactly what you want to hear. Someone is manipulating her. And I'm at a loss because I don't know what to do to help her.
Sandy says that Max Moose Advisor told her that he was born in the Baptist Hospital of Texas in Bedford, Texas.
That's what he said.
Investigator Brad Allen checked the American Hospital Directory. And guess what?
Does not exist.
It doesn't exist. Sandy says that Max Moose Advisor told her that he went to school at A&A Children. Guess what? Does not exist. Sandy says Max Moose Advisor told her that he also attended Calgary Baptist School. Guess what? Does not exist. The hospital doesn't exist. The school doesn't exist. The university doesn't exist. Max Moose, the only two there were, died in 94. And there's never been anyone by the name Max Moose Advisor in the United States of America. And the emails you're getting are from a sweatshop in Ghana. Now, my next guest is a retired Dayton, Ohio police detective. Now, Mary Leal says she wanted to find out who was behind these online romance scams. So she went undercover to catch a catfish. Take a look at this.
We have an abundance of women today that are so vulnerable to these overseas romance scams. I've been investigating these for the last 6 years. I decided to go undercover to catch a catfish. I went online and set myself up as bait on 3 different websites. I used my own identity and my own picture, and within 3 minutes, I was getting hits on my profile. One scammer in particular was named George, and he was using photos that were clearly not his. The photos actually belonged to a man named Robert Frost, who I met later. Initially, he asked for $2,000, and then he came back and asked for $5,000. I hatched a plan to go to Lagos, Nigeria, and catch my scammer in person. I flew to Nigeria and told him that I really wanted to meet him. I was very surprised that he actually showed up. Door opened, and this man crawled in on his elbows, dragging his legs, and said, "Are you Mary?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I'm George." He had suffered untreated polio. He eventually told me that it was a scam. I told him, "You tried to scam me, and what you did is not right." And I said, "Just go ahead and slither yourself back out to the taxi cab." While I was in Nigeria, I also visited an internet cafe where they were running a huge scamming operation. What I saw was 20 people signed on, and almost every single computer had an instant messaging screen up. I saw very, very young children sitting at these computers, so I took a picture, and they were not happy. They started jumping up, and I had to run out of the cafe to get away from them. The moral of the story is, the person on the other end of that line is not who you think it is.
So, Mary, this guy hit you. How long had you been registered before you got the...
My profile went up, and 3 minutes later, he was on it.
Investigator Brad Allen gave me photos of the person that he believes is the real Max Moose Advisor. I can't show these to the audience due to privacy laws because he's not been arrested, he's not been indicted. You ready?
Sure.
To see Max Moose Advisor.
Okay. Young.
How old would you say, Brad?
Well, it looks to be about 16, 17, maybe younger.
So what do you say about this?
I'm glad that Jennifer got me here so that I could find out for myself and so that perhaps other people won't do the same thing.
You know, if you're chasing this relationship, you're going to miss the guy at the grocery store or at your church or around the corner that has something genuine to share with you in your life, which you deserve and you are entitled to. Now, I want you to listen. I want to talk to another woman right now. I want you to listen to her story. She's been listening to yours. This is a woman who says there is no way her online boyfriend, who was attacked by pirates, is a catfish because he sent her gifts, including an engagement ring that was worth at the time 25,000 rupees. We'll be right back.
I met Terry online through a dating website. This is the engagement ring that Terry sent to me from India. It's little and cute and it's sparkly and it's really nice. I've never met him. I've never seen him face to face. But in my heart, I believe he's real.
If you haven't guessed it by now, today we're talking about online hoaxes and internet love scams. How would you feel if you heard this? I understand we may be miles away from one another, but if I had to go to the end of the planet, if that's where my princess is, her distance wouldn't be a hindrance to my quest. Well, when my next guest, Leanne, says she read this email, she felt like the person who claimed to write this, Terry James, got her, and it was almost like God had made him for her.
I met Terry online through a dating website. He described himself as a person with a heavy accent. My son says he sounds like a Jamaican. I personally don't think so. He's got a cute little laugh, too. Am I in love with Terry? Absolutely. I've never met him. I've never seen him face to face. But in my heart, I believe he's real. If I can just ever get him home, he'll take care of me. This is the engagement ring that Terry sent to me from India. It's little and cute and it's sparkly and it's really nice.
I've known Leanne for a long time. She's my ex-wife and my best friend. When the ring arrived, that kind of threw me for a loop because that's something that normal catfishing people don't do. They don't go that route.
Every time Terry and I had made plans to meet, something had always just come up. He was kidnapped by pirates. He lost his wallet. He's been extremely hungry. His accounts have been frozen. He's been sued, hospitalized. I've sent Terry approximately $3,200. He did not ask for the money. I offered the money. I have always told him I don't need to have the money paid back. In my heart, do I believe Terry is real? Absolutely. I believe that he is what God has been preparing me for my entire lifetime.
I'm going to be angry if he's not real because it's going to really devastate Leanne.
I'm never giving up on him. Because when you're in love with somebody, you never give up.
Well, Leanne says she called Terry after arriving here in Los Angeles. Let's see what happened, and we'll talk.
I'm just going to try to call Terry and see if he'll answer the phone.
Hello?
Hey, it's Leanne. How are you, honey? What are you doing? Are you feeling better?
I'm thinking about you.
I miss you something fierce.
I miss you so much. I miss you so much. I just can't explain. I want to shout out to the world how much I love you.
I know, honey.
I love you. I love you over and over again.
I love you too. It's been a rough road and it's been a long few months.
Yeah.
When do you think you're going to be able to make it home?
Soon. Very soon.
I just want you to know that I'm wearing your ring. All right, well then, honey, I'm going to let you go.
I'll call you, baby.
All right, honey, I love you.
I love you, Dad. Bye.
Bye-bye. I am really excited he answered that phone. I want him to be who he says he is. That man, regardless of whether he is who he says he is, I just want him to be real. It makes me miss him more and more every day, and I want to do anything I can to bring him home.
Now, he was born and raised in Houston.
Correct.
I'm from Texas, and he's from Texas. Mm-hmm. Do we sound anything alike?
No, you do not. His mother was a full-blooded Spaniard, and his dad was Native American, and I know he spent a lot of his summers in Spain.
That's not a Spanish accent. Do you ever say, this doesn't add up?
Yes, I've said it a lot, that it doesn't add up.
You've been listening to the stories. I've been talking to Sandy. Your man here, Terry, was born in Houston. He's a petroleum engineer, and he's working in Anchorage, Alaska, right? But he owned a consulting firm in India.
Correct.
And he's got a 4,000 square foot home with a 3-car garage in Houston. He's got a maid and a driver.
That's correct.
Now, he got held up in India because he still owes $15,000 for a lawsuit.
Correct.
So here's his crisis, Sandy. He's held up. Yours is held up in Afghanistan. Hers is held up in India because he's got an oil rig, right? He was there.
Yeah, he was out on an oil rig doing his consulting work.
And they got hijacked by pirates.
Yes.
And his wallet was stolen, and he had to cancel his credit cards, of course, because you don't want to pirate with your credit card.
Right.
And you have sent him money.
Yes, I have.
How much?
About $3,200 total.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know about the money at all.
And you're her ex-husband?
Yes, I'm her ex-husband. We've been married 3 times. That couldn't work, but the friendship is great.
You're great friends.
Yes.
Great friends.
He says he was attacked by pirates, right? But there's no record of that pirate attack. When pirates attack, particularly when pirates attack Americans, it becomes news.
Correct.
What did you say to yourself about the fact that that nobody knew about this pirate attack?
Well, it kind of makes me angry in a way. Because I'm intelligent enough that I should not have to have been scammed if that's what it turns out to be.
Well, I want to try to get this Terry James on the phone. I'd like to chat with Terry. We'll be right back.
If I had money to give Terry, I'd give it to him. No ifs, ands, or buts. I wouldn't think twice about it. Is it my dream that one day we'll be together? Yes, it is my dream.
Now, Leanne has spoken to Terry on the phone, so let's try and call him now and see if he'll chat up Uncle Phill.
Okie dokie.
Hello?
Hey, Terry, it's Leanne.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Dr. Phill wants to talk to you.
Hey, Terry, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine.
I'm talking to you on television right now. You're famous. So you're from Houston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Houston. So where do you live in Houston?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, I can hear you
Hello?
fine. No, I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you and I are both from Houston.
Hello?
I was just saying, you and I are both from Houston. Where do you live in Houston? Let's try him back.
Are we ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, sorry, we had a bad connection there.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Leanne and I are here just chatting and wanted to visit with you.
Okay.
I was just saying that you and I are both from Houston. Where do you live in Houston?
Hello?
Terry, can you hear me?
Hello?
Terry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me where you live in Houston.
Okay, I live around, hello?
Terry, I wrote to Dr. Phill to get you out of that country. You better be a real person because I'm on national TV and I'm going to look like a fool.
I know.
Hey, Terry, it's Dr. Phill. I want to help you get out of there, man.
Sure. I know.
How do we get you out of there? Tell me what you need to get out of there, because I'm the make it happen guy.
I just know they need a guarantor, you know?
Let me have your address in Houston. I need your address and your social security number.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I need your address in Houston. Give me your street address in Houston.
Hello, Richmond Avenue?
Ridgemar Avenue. Can you spell that for me? He hung up. Okay, what do you make of this?
I'm not really sure anymore. I mean, I can hear what you're saying. I know what you mean. I know. I never heard the word catfish until my kid said something to me.
But here's the thing. Forget the word catfish. You recognize that people on the internet scam people. You saw that here she's got a guy supposedly from Bedford, Texas, that she's emailing back and forth to Afghanistan. The emails are going to Ghana. We got a picture of the guy. The same thing is happening here. You're in love with a guy you've never met. And we had a good connection until I said, give me your address in Houston. And all of a sudden, he goes away. And I heard you say under your breath, oh, he's going to be so mad, he's going to hate me for this.
My family's going to hate me.
Your family?
Yeah, my family's going to be really upset because they know I'm smarter than that.
Well, listen, I would rather them be upset with you and then forgive you and get over it than for you to continue to be hurt mentally, emotionally, and financially by some guy working in a sweatshop out of an internet cafe halfway across the world playing you for a fool. The only thing worse than being jerked around for 6 months is being jerked around for 6 months and 1 day. And this lady right down here would be real happy to change places with you, because you just have to transpose your numbers and add a 0 to get where she is. Hear me. I'm trying to help you here.
I hear you.
Do you?
Yeah. But it's not going to make me give up on finding somebody to love me.
I hope not. I hope not, but I'd want to see them.
Yeah, I won't ever do that again.
All right, we've shown these pictures knowing that the guy in these photographs is not a scammer. Please don't look at this guy and think, oh, he's some kind of scam artist. He's not. He's a victim. He got his identity stolen. Coming up, my former guest, Dawn, thought she was in love with David. Next, we're going to meet the real man behind this picture. We'll be right back. Former guest Dawn admitted to falling in love with a man she never met, but gave him over $30,000 during the past year. Take a look.
I met David on Match.com. I love David and I want to be with David. On 3 separate occasions, I was supposed to meet David, pick him up at the airport, but it never happened. I've sent David money 7 times, $30,000.
You see his picture down here?
Yes.
This is actually who this is. This is who you're talking to. You believe to the core of your soul that he's real.
I do.
This is the picture of the man Dawn knew as David. And joining us via Polycom from Florida is the real man behind that photo, and his name is John. John, are you there?
Hello, Dr. Phill, I'm here. Yes.
Well, thank you so
and I can
much.
Hear you.
Well, good. You can hear me. I'm not going to ask your address because you're the good guy. You are the person that the catfish stole your identity and used it to milk $30,000 from this woman, Dawn, correct?
Yes, sir, I guess so.
And how did you find out about this?
My sister tapes your show on a regular basis, and when she got home from work one day, she was recording, replaying it back, and called me from up north and said, you better sit down. And when I was talking to her on the phone, she said, look at the picture I just sent you of my TV. And the picture that was picture of me on your show with your Dr. Phill banner at the bottom.
So you're not the person that, with the story that was being attributed to you, you're just a regular guy just living in America, minding your own business, right?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you touching base with us, and I did want everybody to know.
The money to David, it goes to somebody else that lives in Turkey, and then he gets the money from them. I love David, and I want to be with David.
Dawn was so smitten, she sent David $30,000. Sandy gave her heart to a man she had neither met nor spoken to.
I've sent cash to Max in cereal boxes. I take the money and put it in the bag. I've gotten quite good at it.
Well, that's $63,000 that she'll never see again. Gilda was swept off her feet by her online boyfriend.
I love him and I think he's real.
She sold her home and sent $200,000 overseas. Sabrina signed up for a dating website to find love.
I consider James to be my boyfriend. I am in love with James, and I believe James Connor loves me too.
She sent him a staggering $265,000. When Joy came to the show, she was planning her wedding.
This is the dress. This is the dress I'm getting married in.
Well, Joy is still waiting at the altar. Thankfully, she only sent him about $50,000. All of these women sent money to men they had never met. The combined grand total is a mind-blowing $605,077. That's over $500,000 from just 6 women. Now let's talk about Norma, because Norma says she's watched every one of these catfish shows but wants to tell me that she is the exception to the rule, because after I finish investigating this, I will see that her love is real. Let me tell you, I so hope she is right. I truly do. Because the stakes in this story are higher than any story we've done. I'll tell you why. This precious woman is 70 years old. Now, Norma sent overseas luxury cars, such as a Mercedes-Benz GLK 350, a Jaguar XF. She sent all of her furniture, all of it. And you guessed it, tons of money. All to a man who calls himself Richard Randall. Let's meet the woman that believes her online love is real and ready to walk her down the aisle.
I met Richard Randall 2 years ago on a dating site. He's all I've ever wanted. He's the man of my dreams. Richard was an engineer, and he lived in Salisbury, North Carolina. He has short, blonde, sandy hair and blue eyes. I thought he was very attractive in his photos. I have stared at his picture for hours. Every day we would email each other. He calls me baby and he calls me darling. I love you more than anything. He says, you're the love of my life. He asked me to marry him and I said yes. He calls me Mrs. Richard Randall. I'm waiting for him to come home to be with me.
Well, Norma has never even laid eyes on Richard Randall. Never even seen him, just the pictures. But that has not stopped her from sending money to this man that she has never met.
About 6 months after I met Richard, he asked me for $2,000. Well, I don't have a lot of money. I'm not rich. About a year after I met Richard, he had to go to Ghana, Africa. When I send money, it always goes to Ghana, and it is picked up by one of his friends. I've sent him money 100 times. He's needed money for jewelry, to pay loans back, tariffs, plane tickets. He's been in jail, and his boat sank. I have probably sent Richard about $200,000 in all. I sold my engagement ring and my husband's wedding band to get money to send to Richard. He's planned on coming home about 4 or 5 times. It never works out. I sent everything I had to Richard. And he has told me several times that he's going to pay me back. I'm certain he's real.
Well, Norma, I am really glad to meet you. All right, well, you sent me a question, and I actually wrote down the question. Here was the question that I got from Norma. Dr. Phill, can you help me prove to my daughter, along with everyone else, that Richard is indeed real and that he and I have a real connection, are in love, and have a future together? Well, maybe so. Maybe I can. You were married for a good while, right?
Yes, I was, 25 years.
And your husband passed.
Yes, he had cancer.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I truly am. And sometime after he passed, you decided to get on a website to meet someone, right?
Right.
And what website did you get on?
Christian Mingle.
You actually made contact with Richard on Valentine's Day?
Right. Yeah, he was looking for someone to love him, and I was wanting someone to love me, and so we just fell in love with each other.
You kind of fell pretty hard, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure did.
you wouldn't even leave your apartment for fear you might miss a call.
You're right. I never loved another man like I loved him.
Even your husband?
No.
Even though you'd never met him?
But our hearts just seemed like they just mingled, just melded together.
Right. Now, Norma may want me to prove that Richard Randall is real, but her daughter, Tammy, well, she's far from convinced.
When Richard Randall entered my mother's life, she became someone totally different. She became consumed, obsessed, almost like an addict. He calls her Mrs. Richard Randall. He will tell her, I love you so much. God has put us together. He really baits her with God. My mother truly believes to this day that Richard Randall is coming to marry her. I want her to realize that there is no Richard Randall. He didn't love her, he loved her money. My mother has been scammed of every single thing that she had in the bank. I'm angry, I'm mad at her, I'm mad at him. I haven't had a mother, and my children haven't had a grandmother for 3 years because he has consumed her. It makes me sick. If I could get a hold of this Richard Randall, I would wring his neck and probably spit in his face. He has ruined my mother's life.
Well, Tammy, what makes you think that this guy is a phony?
Where is he? 3 years. Where is he?
How do you answer that question? Where is he?
I don't know. I just keep waiting and hoping. I've got my bags packed.
She said you've been sending him money. In fact, you sent him money once. The first time, Joel Osteen's book, Become a Better You, you took $2,000 cash and you'd put, a little here and a little here and a little here. Then you sent him this book. Did he get it?
No. Somebody else it went to the wrong address, and somebody else had took the money out and left the book.
Left the book? Did he get the book?
Yeah, he got the book.
He
said he enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, I would too. About every third page there was $100.
He didn't get the money.
If it went to the wrong address, how did he get the book?
And one of the neighbors' houses is on the porch with the money gone.
Norma's love affair with Richard Randall actually caught the attention of law enforcement. We're going to get into that when we come back.
Norma did get in trouble. Norma's bank account was flagged for money laundering.
I was nearly arrested.
And later, look, why don't we give him a call and give him a chance to explain all this? I'm guessing he's in speed dial.
Norma did get in trouble and was banned from Western Union and MoneyGram. The police told each of those 5 places, do not allow her to send any more money overseas. It is a scam. Also, Norma's bank account was flagged for money laundering. For some reason, my mother had given Richard her bank account number.
Richard had asked me for my account number. He said he had a friend that was going to put some money in it so I could get it out and send it to him.
Sheriff's Department were like, here we go again.
I was nearly arrested for money laundering.
Now imagine the police raiding an old folks' home. But that is what Tammy says happened to her mother when she tried to send more money to a man that she never met. Now, you've sent a fair amount of money to this man, correct? And I don't know that you even know, Tammy, just how far this has gone. Okay, in September of 2011, your husband passes, correct? All right. And then in February of 12, this is 5 months later, you go on Christian Mingle.
Right.
And on Valentine's Day, that's when you meet Richard Randall, right? So during 2012, you did send him money for a computer. You sent some cash, wire transfers. You even sent some money to friends, and you paid some taxes for him, right?
Right.
For a total of $118,183.99.
I did not know it was that much.
But it didn't stop there. This continued on, Tammy. She sent him furniture, cash, wire transfers, more money to friends, money to adopt a child. Y'all were going to adopt a child. You sent him a 2007 Ford Focus, a 2012 Mercedes, a 2011 Jaguar, and then paid shipping for all the cars. And now we're talking about $219,329.79. We're talking about a grand total of $337,000.
and now I can't even pay rent.
While he's driving a Mercedes and you're having to stay with relatives because you can't pay rent. You were in a retirement home?
Mm-hmm. I had to move out of that because I couldn't afford the rent. My brother-in-law told me I could move in with him, and he took me in or I could be on the street.
So you're living with relatives. Mm-hmm. All right, so what do we know about Richard Randall? Now, this is according to Norma. He was born and raised in Salisbury, North Carolina.
No, he was raised in France. He was born and raised in France.
Then he moved to North Carolina?
Yes.
And that's where he was living when you met him?
Yes, when I met him, yes.
Okay. Then he moved to Philadelphia. And what state do you live in?
North Carolina.
Reckon he'd stop by your house on the way to Philadelphia?
Well, he might have, but I had went to South Carolina to be with, spend some time with my son.
Like the whole time?
No, not the whole
You
time.
were both in North Carolina?
Right.
When you met?
That's what I thought when I seen his address. I thought, well, that's not far away.
And he never came to see you? I mean, like how far away was it? Like 100 miles?
Maybe 50, 75.
50, 75 miles? I mean, I'll drive that today. He was 50 miles from you and never came to see you. Did that cause you to wonder?
Yes, it did.
Okay, then he moves to Philadelphia. Okay, and he's living there. And then he's an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved to Ghana, he said, because your son threatened him.
Yes.
So his thinking is, Norma, love you, girl. No, we haven't met yet. I'm moving to Ghana.
Well, he didn't say that. He called me when he got to Ghana and said, guess where I am? I said, where? He says, I'm in Ghana. I said, well, didn't you forget something? He said, what? I said, me.
So why hasn't Richard seen her? They're in the same state, 50 miles apart. He doesn't see her. Moves to Philadelphia, then gets there, says he's threatened by her son. So what any reasonable person would do, he moves to Ghana on the West African coast and says, gee, forgot to take her. So why hasn't he met her? What are his reasons and excuses? I'm going to tell you after the break.
I sent my bedroom furniture to Ghana along with a 2012 Mercedes-Benz and a 2012 Jaguar. The Jaguar was supposed to be mine and the Mercedes-Benz was going to be Richard's. It was very exciting.
And later, you told him you were coming here.
He says, you better buy a plane ticket and get home.
Had he heard of the Dr. Phill show?
I'm sure he had.
Yeah, bet he has too.
This situation has caused a ripple effect. It has put me at odds with my father. It's caused a lot of tension between my husband and I because he doesn't understand why I want to help her when she's sinking her own ship. My mother has missed our daughter's last 3 birthdays. She doesn't even know my son. He's 6. It hasn't just broken Norma's heart. It's broken a lot of other hearts too.
Tammy believes her 70-year-old mother, Norma, is possibly being duped by a catfish. It's a term that describes someone who pretends to be someone they're not, using social media to create a false identity and pursue deceptive online romances. But Norma insists she is the exception to the rule. She is so convinced that her fiancé, Richard Randall, is real, she is preparing to move to Ghana to be with him. She has her bags packed.
The plan was for me to move to Ghana and live in a beach house. I helped buy the beach house. I gave about $15,000 on the beach house. And I sent my bedroom furniture to Ghana along with a 2007 Ford Focus I also sent 2 luxury cars to Ghana. It was a 2012 Mercedes-Benz and a 2012 Jaguar. The Jaguar was supposed to be mine and the Mercedes-Benz was going to be Richard's. Counting shipping and everything, I spent about $55,000. I'd even packed my bags. I was so sure that I was going. Also, Richard found a 12-year-old girl in Ghana that we were going to adopt. I actually spoke to the girl, and she called me Mom and told me she couldn't wait for us to be a family. It was very exciting.
Okay, so I was saying, where is this Richard Randall? I mean, 2.5 years, you'd think the boy would find a way. I mean, at one point he was in 50 miles of her. Well, he said he was too sick to fly. He was afraid of your son.
Yes.
He was held up at airport customs and not allowed to fly. Why was that?
When I had him detained in Belgium.
That's when you had him detained in Belgium, okay?
I didn't even know he was in Belgium.
Yeah, well, the way he got to Belgium is he was coming to see you, right?
Right.
And rather than fly from West Africa, he decided to take a boat. It ran into problems and wound up sinking off the coast of Belgium. I hate it when that happens. So then he makes it ashore in Belgium, but he's arrested in Belgium because you ratted him out as a fraud, according to him. You and your lawyer ratted him out, so he was detained in Belgium, so he couldn't get to you. But he got loose because he's back in Ghana now, right?
Yes, they didn't have enough evidence to prosecute him.
And he was on the way. Why not come on to see you?
I wish I knew.
Okay, so Tammy and Richard have had some exchanges. Richard Randall to Tammy on August 7th of 2012. Tammy, listen and listen real good. I am not in the same age with you to read such foolish message from you. You know I am like a stumbling block on your path. I will straighten you well, and you will sit at your place and nurture your sorry little pathetic ass. If you ever write such a disrespectful mail again to me, nor your mom again, I will be your worst nightmare. Know that you will never, and I repeat, never, ever, ever stop the both of us from loving each other. So he just gave you a good telling off.
Oh, yeah.
In real Philadelphia speak. Could English be his second language? Maybe? I mean, do you think? Okay, then Tammy talks back to him. She sends an email to him. You're finished. You're going down, you sorry piece of You and all of your buddies sitting in that internet cafe are scum of the earth, and we're coming after you with all we have. You have conned your last person. Yeah. That's pretty good English. Pretty good English on that.
Said a lot more.
Yeah, but being a lady.
Yes.
So you and he clearly are at odds.
Clearly.
And can we agree that he talks funny? I am not of your same age group.
He can say I love you real well.
And send money.
And I need money.
I need money. He's got that down. Just rolls, I need money. Let's see what happens when I try to call Richard Randall. Guessing he's in speed dial. Hello?
Because of her giving Richard all of her money, my mother can no longer afford to live in the independent living facility. And she is now living with my uncle, her brother-in-law. It makes me ashamed. It makes me feel sorry for her.
Now, Tammy brought her mother here in hopes that we could uncover some truths about a man who proposed marriage to Norma, even though they've never met. Now, does it surprise you that you would be willing to marry someone you've never met?
I just think of how much I loved him and how much I wanted to be with him.
Look, why don't we give him a call?
Okay.
Why don't we give Richard a call and give him a chance to explain all this? This is your phone.
Mhm.
I'm guessing he's in speed dial.
Of course.
Just call him and put it on speaker.
He might call back. He did yesterday.
He did? He called you back yesterday?
Afterward, we tried to call him. Yeah.
Well, hello? That was recording. Okay, says it's an invalid number. So I hung up.
And the other number I usually call this morning is call rejected.
He only called her 22 times yesterday from that number.
You told him you were coming here.
He called me in the hotel room, and he wanted to know where I was at, and I told him I was in Los Angeles. He said, "What are you doing there?" I said, "I'm going to go to Dr. Phill's show." He says, "You better buy a plane ticket and get home."
Had he heard of the Dr. Phill show?
I'm sure he had.
Yeah, I bet he has too. I'm curious, we have someone on the phone that is not, this is not Richard, but this is someone that I'm curious if his voice and accent and all is at all similar to that of Richard. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
All right, good. Steve, tell me where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Nigeria.
You're from Nigeria. And you currently live where?
New York City.
Okay, in New York City, okay. And Nigeria is a West African nation that's pretty close to Ghana, right?
Yes.
Okay, and tell me just a little bit about yourself so we can just hear you speak a little bit.
I live in New York City, and I'm a film producer.
Does this sound at all like the...
A little bit.
Little bit. So, Steve, would you do something for me?
Sure.
Would you say, "I love you, dear Norma"?
I love you, dear Norma.
Norma sounds right.
Uh-huh. Could you say, "Please send money"?
Please send some money.
Sounds more like him all the time.
Yeah. All right. Would you ever send money to someone you're dating online but have never met? Log on to Twitter and let us know by tweeting hashtag Dr. Phill yes or hashtag Dr. Phill no. I'd love to know what you think, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Let me ask you something. Have you changed your relationship with your family since you got involved with Richard?
Yes.
How has she changed, Tammy?
There's really no relationship anymore. My brother doesn't want to have anything to do with her or me.
Your brother's just completely cut her off, right? You have no relationship with him?
No.
Does that bother you?
Yes, it does.
You missed your nephew's funeral because you were distraught over not hearing from Richard, right?
Right.
So something as important as a family loss. This is bankrupting you emotionally as well as financially. Would that be accurate?
That's correct. I am addicted. I've come to the conclusion that I am just addicted to him. He's my highs and he's my lows.
Well, we actually found him.
Did you?
Right here. We found him, and we're going to talk to him next.
I was very lonely when I met Richard. My husband died 3 years ago. Richard makes me the happiest person on earth.
Okay, that was Norma, who says she is counting down the days until she and her online fiance, Richard Randall, can finally be together. We found this man right here, and he taped a message for you. Let's watch it.
Norma, I would like to introduce myself to you. My name is Bill. From my understanding, there is a guy named Richard from Ghana that's stolen my photos from my Facebook account, and he's been sending those to you and manipulating you in a way that's not good. I just want you to know that I am not Richard. I'm not from Ghana. I've never been to Ghana. The producers also informed me that you had lost a husband that you were with for 21 years, and I'm sorry to hear that. I also can understand your situation because I was in a 21-year loving relationship with a wonderful man, and he passed away. It's just left such a huge void in my life. So with all that said, Norma, I just want to wish you the best, and I hope that you can find some peace and happiness and move forward with your life.
Now, Norma, Bill is on the phone, but what is your experience right now of seeing your Richard Randall's picture come to life and talk to you, and it not have that accent and it not be Richard Randall?
I don't know. It don't seem real. It not be. I mean, it don't. I don't think it's him.
You still.
But that's him, right? That's Richard Randall. That's the picture.
But it don't really sound that much like him.
That's because that's not him. That's because that's not him. This picture you're seeing is a man named Bill. He has a Facebook page, and that picture is on it. And somebody took that picture, wrote Richard Randall under it, and got on a dating website and started talking to you. The man that's talking to you doesn't look like that. The man that looks like that is on the phone. And I just want, we're going to talk to him, but I just want to note that Bill here is not a scammer. Bill is a victim of identity theft, just like you are a victim of fraud. You two are victims in this. Bill is a great guy. He has nothing to do with this. He just had his picture stolen. Bill, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Phill. Norma, that is definitely me. That's my picture. It was taken from my Facebook account. And I am so sorry that this has happened to you.
Do you believe what I'm telling you? Do you believe what Bill is telling you?
I do.
There is no Richard Randall. That's just a made-up name. You need to tell me you hear that.
I hear that.
That this picture that you've fallen in love with is not Richard Randall. It's a man you've never met or talked to until this minute, right now, on this stage.
And his name is Bill.
And his name is Bill. And you've never sent him a dime. He's never received a dime from you. He's never asked you for a dime. The person that you've been talking to, maybe he's from Ghana, I don't know, but we've heard his voice. He's clearly has a West African accent. He's not who he's telling you he is. Right?
Right.
You get that. Tell me you get that.
I get that.
All right. Let that soak in for a minute. Bill, thank you so much for making that tape for this woman and for taking time to be on the phone. This means so much to get her moving forward in her life. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, another mother, Sabrina, and her daughter Sarah sat right here on this stage not long ago. They too faced the reality that Sabrina was trapped in a terrible cyber scam. We're going to hear how they're doing next and give you an update. We'll be right back. I know this is a lot. This is a lot for you to take in. It's a lot, and you can be overwhelmed. But the fact is, you are as much a victim here as if someone had broken into your house and stolen all of your things during the night. This person is not the picture that you've seen. That should tell you why he's never been able for you to see him.
He told me one time he hoped I still liked him as much when I saw him as I did when I was talking to him.
You have no idea. He could be 16 years old. He could be 80. He could be. You don't know. It's just he just took someone's picture. Has that soaked in?
Yeah. That's probably why he didn't want me to come on the show.
Yeah. Now, not long ago, another mother and daughter sat right here and learned the same truth. Here's what happened with Sabrina and Sarah.
I met James on Match. James asked me for money 3 weeks after we met. Total amount of money that I've sent James Conner is around $265,000.
Is he worth it?
Yes. My mom missed so many red flags about this guy. My mom gave away her retirement and everything she has, all for a photoshopped person.
We actually did some investigation on his passport. If you look closely, there's a woman in the background.
Is that him calling you right now?
Yes, it's him.
Well, let me talk to you. You are a scumbag scam artist, and we know who you are, and we know where you are, and we're going to, by God, find you, and you're going to give this lady her money back. What do you think of that? Look me in the eye and tell me you know this was a scam.
I truly believe that this is a scam.
Well, joining us now via Polycom is Sarah, Sabrina's daughter, who you just saw. Sarah, so good to talk to you again.
Thanks, Dr. Phill.
You've been watching the show so far, right?
It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm reliving everything, which we still are living through everything. My mom actually just moved in with me, my husband, yesterday. She is still going through every up and down daily. She actually referred to it as a death when she found out that James wasn't real on the show. I think that Norma is in love with the voice still, just like my mom. It doesn't matter if she just found out that he's not real, because it's not just the picture that she's in love with. It's the voice. It's the addiction. It's like somebody that's on a drug.
Thank you so much for saying that. When she was saying that, you were shaking your head yes. If this Richard called you and said, okay, it's true, I've never been in North Carolina, I've never been in Philadelphia, I've never been out of Ghana, but I really do love you, what would your reaction be?
I love you too.
This man that has cheated you and lied to you and taken all of your money and played you just as an ATM, just for cash, if he said, okay, you caught me, I live in Ghana, but I really do love you, you would say, I love you too?
I just do love him. I love what I think he is, or what he's letting me see that he, what I think he is.
But you're loving who you wish he was. That doesn't exist. You just talked to the picture. Bill just talked to you on the phone. He's not that guy. It's some guy in Ghana.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm in love with.
Wow. What you said, Sarah, was so prophetic, because that's you're...
It's so sad. It makes me want to cry. If I could talk to her, Dr. Phill, give her my phone number. I could probably help more. My mom and I should talk.
Thank you for being here and being part of this. And with your permission, I am going to give your contact information to Norma and Tammy so you guys can talk. So that way you can be support. Thank you so much. All right, Twitter fans, earlier I asked the following question. Would you ever send money to someone you're dating online but have never met? Here's what you had to say. The results were 90% no and 10% yes. And, actually, you're not alone in this, because the FBI, this happens enough now that they have statistics. The amount of money that is flowing out of this country to these scam artists is $82 million a year. All right, let's switch gears to a past guest whose husband had several lovers, and 2 of them came with the wife to expose him. What happened to Anna and her husband Pablo? I'm going to tell you about that when we come back. Do you get that this man is not real? All the things you wish he felt for you, she feels for you right now. Look at her face.
Yeah, but he would tell me that she didn't care for me. She just cared for her family. She didn't need me.
Look to your right. Who's here?
Tammy.
Look to your left. Do you see him? The girl that cares for her mother is sitting right beside you. Don't look past what you need when it's right in front of you. Now, before we go, a few months ago, I met Pablo and Anna, a young married couple. You might remember Anna brought along some surprise guests for Pablo, some women he was cheating with. He had no idea that she had found them, and they had formed a relationship of their own. Take a look.
Pablo and I have been married for 3 years. I found out that Pablo was cheating on me. He told me that he will end the relationship with that woman and will start working on our marriage.
Are you prepared to be honest today?
Yes.
Pablo says that he only had one affair during his marriage to Anna. For every rat you see, there are 50 you don't.
I decided to look through his phone, and I learned there was a number he'd been texting. She admitted that they had sex.
Have you lied to me since you've been out here?
Well, just that. Well, since it came into light, yes.
Is there anything else? Amanda's here. Amanda, come on in.
Wonder how many more chairs you could fit over there.
How many more chairs do we need? Who is Bernice?
It's another woman that I'm seeing.
Did he ask you to marry him?
He sure did.
And he asked you to marry him with her ring.
Yes.
Who is Alina? These two actually got together and they decided to become Alina.
And I made a fake profile on the dating website so we could catch Pablo with other women. Pablo started messaging us actually the next day.
Why do you need to lie to every woman you encounter? We got to either be honest or shut this thing down.
What you just found out, you still want to work this marriage?
I don't know.
Well, there's been a dramatic change since her last appearance on the show. Take a look.
Since I was on the show, I tried really hard to give another chance for my marriage. Unfortunately, Pablo showed very little effort in changing his lifestyle, so I filed for the divorce. It was one of the hardest and most painful choices I had to make in my life. I know the healing process